Today on the Playbook podcast, all eyes on Iran. Is Donald Trump about to take the biggest risk of his second term? The fallout from Friday's tariff ruling continues, and the USA wins gold in the men's ice hockey. But who's celebrating in the locker room? Dasha, how are you doing?
I'm so glad to be back. Oh my gosh, I was knocked out last week, you guys. It was miserable. I'm so sick of sixth season. I'm sick of winter. And this weather right now is not helping me get any better. Oh, by the way, it is Monday, February 23rd.
It is Monday, February 23rd. And by the way, this is Jack Blanchard. And that is Dasha Burns. And Dasha is back with us, as you can hear. And so is the snow, Dasha. The snow is back. Are you happy?
I'm feeling better just in time. I am not happy. I'm not happy. I'm really over it.
If you're in DC today, the federal agencies are open, but under a 2-hour delay, and so are the schools. I'm delighted. My kids are thrilled. They can hang out at home until 10:30. But we're not getting weeks of snowcrete again. Temperatures will be up to the mid-50s by Wednesday, Dasha. So do not fear. This is a day or two of snow and no more. So you'll be all right.
Okay. I'll hang in there.
You don't look totally convinced, but that's what we've got.
We'll see.
I was trying to think of what's of a good heading for Playbook this morning, and I came up with one battle after another, because Donald Trump goes directly from his Friday tariff meltdown, if I can put it in those terms, and the biggest story dominating the weekend. We're now starting a new week, and it's all about Iran, because is he going to do it, Dasha? What do you think?
Yeah, one battle after another. My pick for the Oscars, by the way. I was speaking yesterday with some people close to the White House and some Pentagon officials. And, the challenge with speculating what the president is going to do with foreign policy is immense in this administration, because we have seen so much buildup and then no action, build up and then no action, build up and then something happens, very little buildup, and then something huge happens, So one defense official that I was speaking to yesterday told me that there have been multiple times just in the last few weeks or couple of months that they have left the building thinking that they were going to come back at 3 a.m. because something was going to happen. And then, woke up to the regular alarm being like, oh, I guess we decided not to, go through with that. And that is the story of the Trump approach to war and peace.
So it's so true. It's so true. Let me try and read the runes a little bit, which, as you say, is an intensely dangerous thing to do with Donald Trump. But that is what you guys listen to us for. Obviously, we have this colossal military buildup in the Middle East. It's a big deal. America does not normally do things like this without taking action. That's the first really important thing to bear in mind. If you listen to Donald Trump at the back end of last week, he said to Iran, we're going to make a deal, or we're going to get to a deal one way or another. He said 10, 15 days. Now, we've heard that from him before. He was saying that right up until the minute he sent the bombers over to Iran last time. So, I'm taking that sort of timeline with a pinch of salt. The one that really interested me over the weekend, Dasha, Steve Witkoff on Fox News on Saturday, saying that Iran could be, quote, a week away from having, quote, industrial grade bomb making material. Now, I have no idea whether that's true or not, but the fact that he put that timescale on it, a week away, sounded very much like someone rolling the pitch for action this week. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that was my message I took from it.
Well, they've really kept up the urgency here. And there is, let's remember, Steve Witkoff is in regular contact with Israel, with Bibi Netanyahu, and with the Israeli government, who are very eager to see the U.S. take action here. Netanyahu was in the White House just last week, of course, having those very conversations. So there are a lot of reasons why Witkoff in particular, but a number of officials both in the U.S. and over in Israel would want to keep up the sort of immediacy of potential action. And look, we've talked about this before, but Iran is unique in the president's mind. It really is in a lot of ways his white whale. It's the foreign policy that he has held the longest and has been most consistent on, and would be the kind of thing that when he's thinking about legacy would be the kind of thing that he wants, in the history books and during his second term. Everything that I am hearing from the people close to him is that yeah, this is very much on the table. The talks are happening pretty consistently, and like, buckle up, basically.
Buckle up, exactly. And we're expecting more talks in Geneva on Thursday, is currently what has been scheduled, we are told. But there is some thought that maybe Donald Trump does something limited before that to try and move things along a bit.
I wouldn't count like talks on the calendar as any indication that we're not going to see something sooner or later. Right now, from my understanding, the main sort of debate or the big question mark is like the scope and scale, and of course timeline. But whether it's if they took action, whether it would be a more sort of targeted strike, or the idea of regime change is something that the administration does want to pursue sooner than later, given the conversation about nuclear, given the conversation about protests, and all the horrible headlines that we've seen coming out of the action against civilians in that country.
People are saying to the president, you have Iran in a historically weak position. There
Yeah.
is a moment here if you want to take it. Israel has destroyed the defenses. We saw that, destroyed the proxies. Iran has not been this weak for years, if not decades. They really are. There is not that much Iran can do compared to, say, a few months ago, a few years ago, certainly. And President Trump has people in his ear telling him that. And as you say, for something he wanted to address, they're saying, well, this is it, man. If you want to do it, now is the moment.
And for something like this, it's a whole lot easier to get Trump's ear and talk him into doing something than to talk him off the ledge and to keep him from doing something. And that there are people whose calls he takes, like Senator Lindsey Graham, like Benjamin Netanyahu, like other more hawkish members of his cabinet, that are egging him on here.
Congress was supposed to be back today. It's not back today because of the snow. They'll be back tomorrow. There were plans, and as far as we know, there are still plans to tee up some sort of war powers resolution vote on Iran. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, of course, the guys that pushed through the Epstein files law at the back end of last year, are now pushing ahead with a war powers resolution vote. It doesn't look like they've got the numbers at the moment, though. Rather surprisingly to me, some of the Republicans who voted with them last time there was a war powers vote are saying they will not vote for this. I saw one Democrat over the weekend, Josh Gottheimer, saying he won't vote for it either, which suggests to me that maybe the numbers aren't there in the House to restrict Trump's.
Yeah, I think Iran is a very different story. The polling out there is a little bit confusing, and it's more nuanced. And I've been seeing a lot of moderate Republicans on social media arguing that the president can do this, should do this, in fact. And when the moderate Republicans are in that space, and the super Trumpy guys are going to be all for whatever he wants to do, that's when this is probably not gonna work out for Massie and Khanna.
Just one more to throw your way on this. It pivots nicely into the other topic I wanted to talk about, which is tariffs. Wilbur Ross, who, as you remember, was the Commerce Secretary back in the first term for Trump, he said on Friday, I don't think Trump can take this loss on tariffs and then be seen to be backing down on Iran. So his view was just like politically and almost like psychologically, having had that bad defeat in the Supreme Court Friday, does that make it more likely Trump feels he needs to come and be more aggressive in a different policy area?
Oh, that's been a major conversation, because of course the way that Trump views this and his advisors view this, I mean, all of these narratives are tied together, and when they want the headlines to change, they sometimes take actual policy action. Not that they're making it up just for the headlines, but like, if we were going to do it, might as well do it when we want to own the narrative. So I'm very curious, like this State of the Union moment and all of what happened last week with the Supreme Court ruling, and a couple of other tough moments for the White House. It feels like we're in limbo right now as we kind of see how all of this weaves together and where that leads us.
Yeah, State of Union, of course, is tomorrow night. We'll talk about that more on the podcast tomorrow morning, I'm sure. But I think tariffs is obviously going to be a theme of that speech. If he doesn't do anything on Iran before tomorrow night, then he could probably leave that out of it. But the tariffs just seems to sort of hang over everything. And as the members of Congress come back now tomorrow, they're all going to be talking about that as well. They're going to be asked about it as well. And the message we heard from Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, over the weekend was what they're trying to say, the administration, is that actually this doesn't change anything at all. Don't worry, we've got other plans for tariffs. And I'm just finding that a little hard to believe that really this isn't going to impact on the economy at all.
The impact on the economy is one conversation. Whether or not the administration is going to keep pursuing the tariff agenda is a whole other conversation. I mean, remember when I sat down with Trump's trade chief, Jameson Greer, late last year, he was very adamant that even if the Supreme Court didn't vote their way, that their tariff agenda would press on, that they have other tools to use to keep enacting these tariffs and keep using tariffs as a tool for the economy, for foreign policy, everything that the president has been doing. And that's the message that we're hearing from Scott Bessent as well. And everything I'm hearing from the administration is they are very committed to not allowing the Supreme Court ruling to really change their trajectory on this. Now, what it actually means in practice, with all of the questions that we still have about whether these what happens with these refunds, the blue states that are going to be litigating this as hard as they can, I mean, it is actually quite a messy ruling, and that I do think in some ways that the administration thrives in that kind of messiness. Like Trump can use the uncertainty and the muddled waters here to his benefit.
Before we go, I have been enjoying the Winter Olympics a lot over the last couple of weeks. I hope you guys have too.
It has helped me get through my sickness.
I hoped it would. I've been waiting for the moment, because I'm a political nerd, obviously, for the Winter Olympics to get political, for the sort of crossover moment to happen. And we've had one
sicko.
I know. I can't help it. We've had one or two things, but last night, finally, just as the thing is ending, we finally got the crossover.
You got what you
moment.
wanted. You got what you wanted.
After that amazing hockey match, and congratulations to Men's Team USA. Incredible game.
Movies will be made. The man with his teeth knocked out, doing an interview afterwards, literally bleeding
everywhere, like a proper hero. Exactly. And coming just a few days after the Team USA women's team did almost exactly the same thing. Amazing to watch. And then in the locker room, who do you see but the head of the FBI with a beer in his hand, chugging back beer, having flown out there in his taxpayer-funded jet. And now we have a political story. What is Kash Patel up to?
I mean, I was looking, of course, on the internet to see the responses to this. And as always, it's mostly breaking on party lines. Republicans are saying, hey, this was patriotic, and he's celebrating with the
beer
team.
Drinking.
Yeah, patriotic beer drinking. His spokesperson said that he was there for business, for meetings, law enforcement stuff, and people are calling that BS. I think the biggest problem for Kash, I don't think the president would normally care, but I do wonder, given the unfortunate timing of him partying in Italy while Mar-a-Lago is getting breached by an armed individual. And of course, there's the Nancy Guthrie case that's still going on. There's actually a ton on the FBI's plate right now, and particularly that threat against the president's property down in Palm Beach.
So anyway, we'll see what happens with Kash Patel today. I'm sure the president will be asked about it when he pops up on the media this morning, and we can see if he wants to give another ringing endorsement to the FBI chief. We better stop there, hadn't we? Dasha, thanks so much for joining us. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Thanks all for listening. We've got loads more news and analysis in today's Playbook newsletter. You can find that at politico.com/playbook. And we'll be back tomorrow for a State of the Union special. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening, guys.